When version 2.0 of the Techthusiasm home theater came together, there were a lot of changes made, particularly in the audio system and in the video system as well. We moved from a 16 by 9 135-inch screen to this massive 163-inch scope screen that I'm looking at here behind the camera, and I moved from in-room speakers, towers, a center channel on a stand down below the screen, and bookshelf speakers on mounts on the walls and on stands all around, to what I've considered to be an awesome upgrade to these Focal 1000 series architectural speakers. And when we made this upgrade, there was another level to the Focal 1000 series that I couldn't do basically at the moment in time. It didn't make financial sense to do it at the moment, but I always knew that there was a progression in mind. There was an endgame progression thought, both for the theater and for the living room upstairs. And I'm happy to announce that in collaboration with Focal, we're going there. We're going to Utopia. The Techthusiasm home theater and the Techthusiasm living room are going to be utopian environments. So I wanted to use this video basically to kind of make this announcement. Items are on their way, speakers are on their way, and it's going to be an early 2025 thing ultimately before stuff starts to deliver and I'm actually able to kind of get in here and do the work to make the upgrades. But I'm going to fulfill ultimately the progression of the speakers that I was hoping to do for so long now, and I think it's just going to be absolutely freaking fantastic and awesome. I'm super excited for this. Really, we're entering into Techthusiasm home theater, I think at this point, version 3.0, with the audio upgrade following the speakers and the video chain upgrades that we did in 2024 with the MadVR, the lens, the NZ900, and the level of performance of the room continues to ratchet up. And so yeah, I think we've kind of like silently segued now into Techthusiasm home theater 3.0. So let's talk about what's happening here ultimately. Now the current speaker layout, we have 11 speakers in the room. It's a 7.4.4 audio configuration, and there are 3 of the Focal IWLCR speakers behind the screen as my left, center, and right speakers. Of course, we have 4 of the IW6 more smaller bookshelf style in-walls. Those are the 2 surround backs that you can see behind me, and of course there's 2 on the sidewalls for the side surrounds. And then up above here, of course, we have 4 of the ICW6 speakers overhead for Atmos effects. Now I've been talking for quite a while since we put all of this original stuff in that I would really love to have the Utopia speakers in here, certainly in certain locations, and that there could be like essentially a bit of a progression ultimately of if some Utopias come in, how could we kind of upgrade and have that wave of upgrade kind of wash through the rest of the system. And that's what's going to happen ultimately. So there are going to be 3 of the 1000 IWLCR Utopia speakers entering the home theater. Those 3 speakers will, of course, I think obviously be used as the LCR positions in the room, all 3 of them going here behind the screen. Now, the IWLCR6s that are behind the screen right now will come out. We'll be adding 1 more additional IWLCR6 to the set, and those 4 IWLCR6s will replace the 4 IW6s in the side and, fingers are hard to point backwards, and the side and rear surround positions. Now we did talk, I did consider doing a little bit more than this. We actually considered going all the way to like 7 Utopias all around the room. That just felt like maybe a little bit more overkill ultimately for what the side surround and rear surround positions do in the home theater environment. As it is, I think stepping up those speaker locations to the IWLCR6 is a massively significant upgrade. It's basically the equivalent of having something like a Sopra tower as your side and rear surrounds. I think I'll be pretty happy with the result. We also did consider upgrading the overhead speakers in terms of stepping up to the Utopias, the bigger speakers, having the bigger speakers all the way around. There is an ICLCR 5 speaker in the 1000 series lineup, and we did contemplate taking out the smaller rounds and going with the ICLCR 5 up above, but it wasn't to be. Ultimately, because of physical constraints, the speaker just doesn't fit. That speaker is something on the order, or requires something on the order of like a 15 inch square cutout in order to fit up there. And as I measured it, the actual gap distance between the floor joists, between the floors, we're in the basement here, of course, between the basement and the main floor of the house is only 12 inches. So it just doesn't physically fit. Those speakers don't physically fit between the floor joists. So I don't think that's really a big deal. They're overhead speakers, they're Atmos effect speakers, and I think the rounds will do a fantastic job. Of course, the one thing that I really love about this whole lineup is the fact that it's so well matched to each other. Similar components, similar drivers, similar materials, and all of that. So you can really kind of pick and choose the specific speakers that you want for the specific locations. And I don't think that you're really going to go wrong with essentially any major combinations. Now, I've certainly gotten the feedback over the years as well. The patterning and the spacing of my overhead speakers is fairly compromised as it is. Yeah, things are a little bit forward of ideally where I might want them to be, and they could stand to be spaced out a little further kind of in both dimensions. But hey, we all have constraints in our room, and you have to do the best you can with what you have. The rear tops weren't going any further back because they can't go into the soffit where we have a bunch of HVAC stuff, and that soffit wouldn't have even have fit the IWLCR 5s anyway. I couldn't actually move them any further apart because there's other stuff in the floor joist locations. There's HVAC vents and piping and stuff like that running up there. So I'm lucky that I was able to get the configuration that I was able to get. It serves the main center seat here, the prime seat, a little bit better than the rest of the row. But again, you always have to make trade-offs in home theater, and for all the things that I've gotten lucky with about this room and how things have fit and integrated and all that stuff, a little bit of a spacing or compression of the spacing of my overhead top speakers is like one of the last things that I'm actually worried about. And again, everything is in the 1000 series lineup. It's all going to match, it's all going to stand up and perform well with each other. Another thing that I want to point out about this upgrade and how and why actually ultimately I kind of had this progression thought enabled in my mind from the very beginning is I think Focal did something super smart, whether by design or by accident, but I think they did something super smart with the 1000 series, and that's the fact that the Utopia and the IWLCR 6 and the IW6 are all the same width. The speakers are all the same width. So when you're putting in walls, and we're cutting holes literally in our walls, in our drywall, when the time comes, or maybe you want to do an upgrade, you want to do a change out, it can be very, very challenging if the cutouts of the new speakers that you're looking to put in don't match well up against the cutout of the speakers that you're taking out. Particularly if the old speakers have bigger cuts than the newer speakers require. Well, now we've got to replace drywall, and it's really kind of a mess. So best case scenario when you're swapping out in walls is that the ones going in always require something a little bit bigger, or a cutout a little bit bigger than the ones coming out, because you can take the drywall away, but it's incredibly hard to replace smaller strips or pieces of that drywall back in. And so when we look at these three speakers again in the 1000 series lineup, the Utopia is very, very tall. The IWLCR 6 is kind of in the middle, and then the IW6, of course, is a shorter style speaker. But they all have the same width. They all require the same width of the cutout. So when it comes to the physical work of coming into this room here, when everything comes in and putting these speakers in, I only have to open the holes up vertically, and I can put the new speakers directly in there. That is so freaking fantastic. And again, back to when I was originally planning out these speakers and wanting the Utopias but not quite getting there, but realizing, hey, this progression can be in the cards, and it's enabled because of the cool cohesiveness of the lineup. Now, we're not going to go with any of the Utopia subwoofer modules in here, at least for right now. I think I have, for the home theater, I have all the subwoofer power that I need with the quad SVS that are in here. I'm still rocking the SB16s. Those are available, hey, if anybody is out there and interested in some SB16 subwoofers. I do want to kind of swap these out to the SB17s at least, get up to the current models and all of that. But we didn't really feel that there was a need, or actually really much of an easy way to bring the Utopia subwoofer modules into the room. And again, for what we have here, 4 of these 16s as it is, plenty of bass power, shaking power, feel the bass, hear the bass, and all of that, so we're good. One other side effect of this upgrade too, and one of the things that I really like about the IWLCR Utopias, the 1000 series Utopias, is the fact that it's a bi-ampable speaker. So I've already mentioned this in some prior content as well, but if we recall just a little bit ago as well, I changed the amplification of the system around. We moved out the Parasound Halo subs and introduced 2 of the NAD M28 amplifiers. 2 times 7 is 14 channels of amplification. We have 11 channels being used in the room, 3 for the LCRs, 4 for the surrounds, and 4 for the overheads, which means all this time I've had 3 dormant, unused amplifier channels on the M28s. The IWLCR 6s are not a biampable speaker, but the Utopias are. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and biamp the 3 Utopias. We'll use all 14 amp channels, perfect math, perfect utilization, 100% utilization. Open up those Utopias a little bit more and drive them with 2 NAD M28 amplifier channels worth of power. I think that's pretty cool, and just, man, everything just falls into place. So ultimately, the only thing really coming out of the theater then are the 4 1000 series IW6s. Those will be available. I will be selling those to recoup some of the money back against what I'm spending for the speaker upgrade here. But we are not done. No, we're not stopping at the theater. Let's take a walk. So I opened 2024 with some videos in this very living room space talking about how I wanted to do some more audio upgrades, some speaker upgrades. We want to change this wall around, and we're here at the end of December and we never got to it. Ultimately, I ended up very focused on the theater throughout 2024. Of course, again, it was a big year of video upgrades in the home theater. But we've done it, and so right now, not only are we going to put the Utopia effect into the Techthusiasm home theater, but the Techthusiasm living room, this 2-channel TV watching, game playing environment is also going to be brought up to a utopian level. So I had the same very upgrade plans in here, or same like upgrade desires in here as I did for the theater room, which is to upgrade the 1000 series IWLCR 6s that are in here up to the Utopia speaker. And in conjunction with that, I want to go full focal with this. And so I am going to ultimately remove the triad in-wall subwoofers, the bronze subs that have been in here for a while. Those subs have been doing work in this room for nigh on basically a decade since we originally built the house and moved in. But we are going to end up in here with a pair of the Utopia speakers, and each one of them will have a matching Utopia subwoofer. Part and parcel with that, again, now we get into the problem of how do you take stuff out and put stuff in and deal with the cutouts and all of that. So the cutout holes for the existing subwoofers are not going to accommodate the Utopia subs. I want to have the modules kind of connected together like they're allowed to do. And again, in the past, we've talked about a bit of a need to kind of tear this wall down, tear this bump out down where the TV is inset. We want to get rid of the angled section up above, make it completely straight. That's going to give me the channels on either side basically to be able to have the height and the clearance and all of that to be able to do the Utopia speaker with the Utopia sub as a single connected module. It'll give us the ability to replace the drywall so that we can make new cuts and all of that stuff. I did talk about wanting to do a redo of this wall in a little bit more of a modular way perhaps, so that I could be able to change speakers out and stuff, but I'm actually kind of moving away from that mentally. I don't think my future needs lie in needing or being able to change speakers out frequently for like doing reviewing and anything like that. I don't think that is what my focus really has generally been. My focus is leaning in heavily on the stuff that I really want to use. I want to see the speakers as well in their grills and stuff. I don't want to see them obscured behind something else that they're inset in. So I think we're just going to go ahead and get the wall redone and get the speakers in. And part and parcel with that, we need to do a little bit of reframing. And what I hope that leads to is a pending video upgrade in here as well, so we can get the dimensions and the sizes that we need to follow up the ultimate speaker upgrade with a 97-inch OLED in here for TV watching and gaming and that sort of stuff. I think that would be absolutely fantastic thing to be able to do in 2025. So as the triad subs come out, I won't need to use their rack amps anymore. I need to do a little bit of kind of technical validation about this. When you have a Utopia speaker and you have the Utopia subwoofer module, effectively there's 3 different pairs of binding posts, but the 2 connect together with the speak-on connector. I believe, I have to verify all of this, but I believe that ultimately the Utopia speaker and the Utopia sub together as a unit can be ran in a biamped configuration. And so my mind immediately goes to sticking with that, trying to keep it simple. We'll get rid of the triad subwoofers. We'll pull the triad rack caps out of the rack. I already have one NAD M23 2-channel amplifier serving this room. So I think what I would like to do in conjunction with the speakers ultimately is we'll keep the one M23. Its 2 amplifiers will biamp one of the Utopia speaker sub-combinations, and then I'll probably pick up a second M23, and that one will biamp the other Utopia and sub-combination. I believe that's how it will. I believe that's a good way to do it, and I believe that will properly kind of service power to the totality of the Utopia combo. But again, that's something that I'll be verifying, and we'll talk about as we go. And of course, once this stuff comes out, this pair of IWLCR 6s and the Triad subs and their respective rack amps, I will go ahead and sell as well, and for recouping some of the money against the cost of the project. Now, astute watchers, astute viewers may think to leave a comment. It's like, why did you buy an extra IWLCR 6 for the theater when you have 2 of them sitting right here? Why wouldn't I just use one of the ones I already have down in the basement there? And yeah, that would have made more sense, and then I could have just sold one speaker. Ultimately though, I think the timing of these projects is going to just be a little bit different. As soon as I get the 3 Utopias in my hand and the extra IWLCR 6, those are going right into the theater as fast as possible, as soon as possible, as I'm able to do that. Given that this requires reconstruction, and that's not something that I'm going to do, I will hire somebody to do that work. I need a handyman to come in here, tear this stuff down, reframe it, build it all up the way that we really want it to be, make it real nice and clean and finish. Some of the drywall work as it is with the angled section, I don't think it looks as nice as it could have all this time. So there's going to be just a time lag in getting that done. And we have no shortage of other projects around the house that we need a handyman to knock out first before we even actually put somebody to work on this thing. So in effect, I can't use one of these speakers because I don't want the theater, I want the theater to be realized with its full upgrade, and it's certainly going to be some weeks. It may even be a couple of months or so or longer before this would get done and I would have had that speaker to take downstairs anyway. So it just worked out that way, and I think selling a pair of these as well will probably be maybe easier or open up more opportunity to sell them as a pair. That way somebody has 2 working speakers in a system rather than selling just kind of one used one. So that's that. Super awesome announcement. I want to say thank you to the folks at Focal talking kind of through the options and the opportunities and all of that. I very much appreciate it. They've been great to work with. I love the brand. I've been using Focal speakers for several years now in 2 iterations of the theater and in this iteration of the living room. I think the stuff is absolutely fantastic. I'm sticking with it for a reason, and that reason is I really like it. I pursued wanting to be able to do this. I pursued wanting those specific Utopia speakers, upgrading within the line, and all of that. So it's going to be so sweet. It's going to make hopefully for some awesome content. The showcase quality again of both of the environments, actually the living room, once we get up to the 97-inch OLED, like it's going to just be such an amazing showcase demo experience space. In the theater, gosh, the theater is just going to be a top level luxury experience all around, audio and video wise. We'll be breaking this all down, talk about it on some live streams. There'll be vlogs and other content and all of that as we go. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. If you think I missed something in my plan, definitely sound off in the comments as well. Let me know what you're thinking, and let me know what other elements of oversight or adjustment or extra value benefit suggestion that you may have. Let's talk about it there. Of course, if you're upgrading your home theater setup, your living room setup, any of this stuff, here at Techthusiasm, we are a dealer integrator for a whole bunch of different brands, Kaleidoscape, JVC, a bunch of audio and video brands. I'm adding more, just added Seymour screens recently. Reach out to me, Jeremy at techthusiasm.net, or just go to www.techthusiasm.net. You can see the brands and all of that stuff there. Happy to help you out, consult, advise. If I can do your project, if I can help you with your project, get you set up with gear, awesome. If not, I've got other great business partners and referrals to be able to send you to. There's a whole bunch of other just general shopping affiliates. If you'd like to support the channel, support my endeavors, allow me to be able to kind of turn stuff over, upgrade, buy things and all of that, hey, please shop with my Amazon, Best Buy, Walmart, Target, Newegg, all of the general affiliates down there in the description. You could also become a channel member. I have been trying to do more for channel members. I'm hoping to do more in the coming year. Earlier access to videos, a little bit more behind the scenes information. This announcement was made to channel members in advance of sharing this video with everybody kind of publicly on the channel. So hey, consider that as well. Leave a super thanks, PayPal, Venmo tip, any of that stuff. I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for watching. Come on back for a whole bunch more of home theater discussion and fun.